Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the funny people are here. That's right, Chris Paul, Huggy Lowdown, and Coy Malone. Hello, everyone. How are you all?
Hello, Sybil Wilkes.
Hey,
Sybil
Sybil.
Wilkes, what's up?
How are you doing?
Living life.
Okay, good. I didn't mean for that
Yeah,
to
I
be a
like that
trick
was a trick
question.
question. So we were like,
Right. How am I doing?
what's
Well,
up?
I've been on the road. How about you guys?
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
Where you been?
Boy, have I ever. We drove 72 hours to
Woo.
Grambling, Louisiana over the weekend.
Woo.
Sybil's one of those people that ask you where you've been, so then she could tell you
Yeah, I'll
about the
tell you
great
what
trip
it.
she
Yeah, I
had.
used to know. I used to know cats like that, bro. Hey,
Where you
good
been,
to
man?
see
Because
you,
I
man.
was just in Hawaii.
Yeah. I'm just
Okay,
saying,
I
wow.
wish. I
Yeah.
wish. Yeah, I wish that was the truth. No, my black business manager, Chris, insisted on driving. I'm a flyer.
You got a black manager too. Wow.
Yeah.
72 hours, Sybil.
It seemed like it. It seemed like it.
Sound like your manager blacker than ours, Sybil.
No doubt, no doubt.
Gracious.
But we drove down to Grambling and
That
saw
was
the
a good
Grambling
time,
Community.
though.
It
It was a
was.
good
It's a
time.
beautiful, beautiful campus.
For the record, for Black Manager, it was 3.5 hours.
It just seemed like 72.
Three
It
and
was
a
just
half.
3.5 hours, Sybil. You complain?
Yeah,
Oh, you done got real.
I'm a punk. I'm a
Yeah,
punk.
you
Oh
done
I was
my
got
in the back
God.
seat.
real.
I was in the back seat of this
And
truck.
complaining. And you
No,
ain't driving.
I didn't drive. No, I
And you
offered.
complaining, Sybil?
I offered. Yeah,
Wow.
I
Sounds like
offered to.
sounds like human trafficking going
Yeah.
It
going on
was. It
across
felt
state
like
lines.
that. It felt
Thank
like
you
that.
for defending the Black Manager, Huggy.
Yeah. And she said she offered.
I did. I
Usually
did
the people
offer.
that offer is the one they don't want driving, you know.
Well, I will just say Lewis Hamilton's got nothing on her because she drove like she was trying to win a
Oh,
race. I
wow.
swear. I
Wow.
swear.
Wow.
Have you all been on the road? Have you all done anything fun over the weekend?
No, Sybil,
The
absolutely
difference
not.
between your black manager and our black manager is we have to drive to gigs, but our manager makes sure there's a hurricane that weekend. He want to see how bad we really want to get there.
Okay. How bad do you
Oh
want the
my
job? Right?
gosh.
We were off this weekend. But this weekend coming up, we're back in Greensboro after the gig that was canceled by the hurricane
Nice.
at the Dynacon Center this
Nice.
Saturday.
Nice. Okay, so we will remind people of that.
That's two shows.
Two shows. Let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. Coy Malone is our social justice contributor, and she is talking in the absolutely free What You Need to Know newsletter about another black man who died in police custody this time in South Carolina. What's the latest, Coy?
This was a 29-year-old Black man named Lavelle Naja Lane who died at Spartanburg County Detention Center on October 3rd. This was at 5:04 a.m. Now, the time is very important and I feel key to the story. And his family is demanding the details surrounding his death and requesting footage of the time that he was in custody. So basically, what happened was that the coroner pronounced this young man dead and said that also his autopsy has already been completed, but they're saying that the results are pending
microscopic, and she's frozen there. Okay, so picking up where Coy left off on this story, the Spartanburg County coroner said the investigation is pending with the state law enforcement division and said that an autopsy was completed October 3rd. However, the results are pending microscopic analysis and a toxicology reading, which would take around 6 to 8 weeks to complete. On the 5th of October, his family held a press conference in front of the detention center there in Spartanburg County, joined by their attorney and members of the National Racial Justice Network, We want to see the video. We want to see it right away. We're not jumping to conclusions about anything, but we want transparency and we want it now. That was according to the family's attorney, Rashida Robinson.
Yep, and they were saying that this young man was only in South Carolina for 2 weeks after moving from Brooklyn, New York, and he was living at a residential care facility. He was arrested on October 2nd for walking in the middle of a highway, and he was booked at 11 p.m. The incident report from the police are saying that he attempted to flee before surrendering with his hands up, but he became uncompliant and combative with officers at the detention center. And one of the coroner's representatives said that he did in fact see the footage of Mr. Lane. He spoke to his father, and he told the father that I saw the footage of your son in custody, and he said that his son was tased while he was naked in the front and in the back. But they still don't have answers. This is just hearsay from a representative from the coroner's office. So it's crazy that this young man was arrested around 11 p.m. and he was pronounced
6
dead
hours
by
later,
5:04 a.m. Yep.
6
But no
hours later,
answers.
he was dead.
No answers.
And so you said a Midway Residential Center. Was this housing that was provided for him for any particular reason, Coy?
I'm not sure, but from what the family is saying that he was suffering from a mental health emergency, but they're not saying what he was diagnosed with or how long, this has been going on, or whether or not the police were aware of this. But I believe that's kind of what contributed to the fact that he was just walking in the middle of the highway.
Wow. This is, there are all kinds of specials going on now as we are looking at Mental Health Awareness Month and week and the days and what have you. And all too often we're looking at our people who are the victims of this, who are booked in the police stations and the county sheriff's departments as a result of some sort of mental crisis they've experienced. And still, we aren't getting the kind of answers. And it shouldn't take, as you say, Coy, it should not take 6 to 8 weeks to admit that police murdered this Black man experiencing a mental
like
health
they're gonna
emergency.
put the fix in, Sybil. That
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, absolutely, Hud.
How frustrating it's got to be for so many families that they have to push to get footage released, that they have to work so hard to get the police to release video to them.
To do what they're supposed to do anyway.
Right.
Right.
That's
Show, if you guys are in the right, show me what happened to my loved one.
Right.
And immediately.
I mean, we could watch football all Sunday and we get a complete replay of every single play as it happens because the technology exists. As soon as it happens, you guys could say, okay, come on into the station, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
no,
always said the police have an editing department.
right. You got to edit. You got to get your story straight. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Come on.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're rehearsing this for 6 to 8 weeks.
They
So
work
by the time
more
they get on
for
the
the
stand,
lies
it's
than
automatic.
they do for being transparent.
Right. As Coy said, it doesn't take 6 to 8 weeks to admit that the police did this, but it does take 6 to 8 weeks to destroy evidence and come up with your story. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely crazy. I do want to mention something that we have added to the What You Need to Know newsletter. Did I mention that it's free? All we need is your name and your email address, and we'll send it to you. It'll be in your email box every Monday through Friday. In addition to the great stories such as social justice and politics and the coronavirus update. And yes, there still are updates to the coronavirus, believe it or not. It's Ministry Monday. This is our newest edition, and our friend Willie McIver has jumped into this with both feet and talking about things related to the church. And in this Ministry Monday column, she talks about discovering your spiritual calling. And this really did speak to me. In the Christian world, there is what we call a spiritual calling. That's when you feel so connected to your life's work, you know that a connection had to come from God and the calling that he has on your life. Your calling is usually closely tied to what you something you love and enjoy. So you're operating in a space in which you are not just happy. That's probably not your calling. if you're not happy. Signs are operating in your calling includes your actions matching your plans. You get caught up in your work, you lose track of time, and that sort of thing. So take a look at it. I think that you'll enjoy it. She even kind of breaks down some of the events and things that go on in church and why and how this happens. So I do highly recommend this. Absolutely. Also, in terms of politics, as I mentioned, we are talking about that in the newsletter. And did anybody see the debates Friday night of the Georgia Senate candidates? Coy, you're right there.
I don't want to.
Okay, why?
I'm gonna go back and watch this for my own viewing pleasure because I just know it was ridiculous. Outside of the fact that I was at work at that time, still.
It was an hour.
I know.
And I can understand people say that's an hour I'll never get back, but this is your state.
I know. I mean, I already know who I'm voting for and what have you. I have my reasons. I've done my research. It's just sometimes these debates, I feel like it's just like, is this a political comedy special at this point? They are getting more and more ridiculous.
So you're saying more and more ridiculous as a result of the debate? Did you see clips of the debate? Is that what you're referring to? And Chris, you're laughing. So I want to know, Chris, your thoughts.
I'm saying, honestly, if you live in Georgia, what was there to gain by watching that debate? Like, what did you find out that you didn't know already? Everything that you predicted and knew in advance, that Herschel Walker is a madman. Herschel Walker is the destroyer of the English language. He is incompetent, incoherent, and it's not even a fair fight. And the fact that it's even close in this election is the scariest thing that could possibly happen to the state of Georgia.
Chris.
Well, I will tell you, the scary part for me is how they make excuses for him. And I got to tell you, watching this, I was not very impressed with Reverend Warnock. I don't think that he came with his best game, and I think he played down to Herschel Walker.
And he's a pastor, Sybil. I was thinking like I wanted him to be more. I wanted him to hit harder. I wanted him to get those points across. I mean, it's Herschel Walker.
But it feels like they were overthinking it. Like his side was overthinking it. Like they were. I said, were they worried about how they would come off if they just went full on the attack? You know, you got to. That's why so many Democrats lose so many battles to Republicans. No matter how unprepared and incompetent the Republicans are, they go full throttle
and they stick to their talking points.
Right, and they stick to the talking points.
That's
all
he was worried about, bro.
They tried to school Herschel on those talking points.
And they were happy with Herschel. They were like, he wasn't dumb as we thought. He wasn't dumb as we thought.
Yeah.
Dummy did better than we thought. And they were happy with it, bro.
It was quite something. I think just in terms of being aware of things that are going on in my state, I would watch, even though I've made the decisions regarding the governor and the lieutenant governor and things like that in the state, I would still watch and I did watch the debate from, I think I was in DC that weekend, that the two gubernatorial candidates did debate. I was just curious, and maybe, even though I've made up my mind, I still, that's still something that I'm interested in, Chris and Coy, and to see. Or maybe it means I just didn't have ish else to do. I don't know, but I was interested, and Huggy, I think that as a man of God and who gets up in the pulpit every Sunday and on the Senate floor and speaks, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was a little let down by this. I don't know if other people who watched.
I thought he was going to be more surgical and more strategic and more direct. I thought he had
a couple of those lines that he was waiting to deliver.
But they came off. But
is he a good pastor? Like I've never seen him preach. Is he a good pastor? Like
I saw him eulogize John Lewis when Congressman Lewis died, And I think that was the first time I had ever seen him and heard him speak. Coy, have you ever been to his church?
No.
Have you heard him speak?
I wonder how he is.
I'm trying to remember it's been a while since I've actually heard him speak. And I want to say it was before he was elected senator. But I can't remember where. But I don't recall seeing him preach.
Okay. Well, I would just like to know from other people who did, whether you are in Georgia or not, but especially folks who live in Georgia, even if you've made up your mind, what you thought of the debates. Michelle Summerall on YouTube says he preached at my church one Sunday before the election. Very good. Okay. And I've always been impressed. Thanks, Michelle, for that. I think that, comparing the two is apples and oranges. I don't think you can compare the two.
It really is.
Or maybe it's more like an apple and a plum. Michael Stallworth, let's not give the moderators a pass on this debate. Remember how low expectations were with Palin and how the national media praised her afterwards in 2008. Just the questions
they was asking,
Well, I don't know if this is an apt comparison, Michael. I don't know. I do think that the young woman who cautioned Herschel Walker about the use of a prop cop with his badge that
they calling him the Negro Carrot Top, Chris. Prop cop.
Oh my goodness, the fake badge.
Well, he says it's not fake. He says that, it was given to him by the folks in Cobb County, and that if they need him, you can use it to help them. So it's not, he says it's not fake. It's legit, Coy.
And so were the furry handcuffs he had in his blazer.
Okay. Well, that's a whole what he does at the house with any number of women. I'm not sure, but
and the police department never calls on him because most of the calls they get are to his house.
The debate was so ridiculous.
Yes,
it was so ridiculous that my coworker, who is from France, weighed in on this, and he's not even voting because he's still, officially immigrating into the United States. But he's like, I'm not even voting, and this is ridiculous.
Well, he can't.
Like, this is crazy, right? But it's just interesting to see.
But he's not voting because he doesn't like the candidates.
No, he's not voting because he's still not a full-fledged citizen.
Right. Mm-hmm. But okay.
Not because he doesn't like him. No, because he doesn't like Herschel Walker. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I'm really curious as to the people who are there. I didn't know what to expect, but he sure came with it. I was not disappointed. I was like, well, okay, so you're the one, or number two. I don't know, but it was something. It was.
Herschel's the kind of candidate that they give points just because he showed up.
Right.
Because no one would have been shocked if he canceled.
And you could tell he had a whole group of people they probably invited, because you can hear the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They were just waiting for Herschel to do good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he put all the pieces in the perfection board right. Oh, he did it.
Okay. Point one, he stepped up. He remembered to breathe and speak at the same time. Yeah. So, and there are a number of people who are running also for this office. So, early voting,
glasses and everything, bro.
Oh yeah.
Never seen Herschel with glasses, bro.
With lenses in them.
Lenses in them on both sides.
Yeah. Today's the first day of voting, Coy, in Georgia. Early voting.
I'm registered. I'm ready to go. I'm tired of getting all these text messages. No, it's just like every time we turn around, there are several commercials about Herschel Walker, and it is so annoying. I have never seen this many political commercials.
Well, they got the money. They got the money to flood the airwaves. You said you're registered. Are you going to vote early, or are you waiting till the 8th? Have you decided?
No,
so my question is, do you have a voting plan? That's something that we always try to
my plan it's always to vote early, because the area that I live in, the polling location is never, super crowded or anything like that. A lot of people do tend to vote early, and I'm glad that I live where I live. It's strategic in the city, so It's going to help
What does that
sway
mean?
some
It's
things.
strategic in the
It's
city.
strategic because there's not just with the the senators. There's a lot of city politics that are going on that are trying to make a certain neighborhood in Atlanta, Buckhead. They're trying to make it its own city. They feel like that's going to solve the crime in Atlanta when the issue is Atlanta, its entirety needs to be repaired in terms of policing, in terms of resources and stuff like that. So I'm glad I live where I live because I'm not going to let that happen, y'all. Y'all not about to make this a separate city and
So
then
that
expect
is your
everybody else to
issue
comply.
that you are fighting on.
Yeah.
Okay.
In addition to voting for our senator to stay in his seat.
And the governor, and there are other offices as well.
Oh no, the governor's leaving too. So that's, I mean, where I'm at is very strategic, and I'm glad that my vote counts in this district.
Okay. All right.
What have you all heard about the level of enthusiasm right now in the state of Georgia as far as voting? I mean, are Black people enthusiastic about getting out there and getting this done, or are they tired of having to solve the problems?
Well, let's move
everyone's problems.
Let's move into that when we talk about the trending topics, and we will discuss that, I promise. Here's our question of the day. It's Boss's Day, so we'd like you to give a shout out to your favorite boss, even if that's you, and like to know what makes that person or you such a great boss. Chris, you and Huggy and I have shared the same boss. We might give him a shout out, or there might be others that you would like to shout out. Maybe just Tom. Maybe Black manager.
When you work for Tom, you always work for Tom.
Yeah. Once you work, yes.
Once you work, you always work
for Tom.
So, Coy, you're not quite a boss yet. Am I to take that? You're still going up in the ranks?
I'm still going up in the ranks, but I have been a boss.
Okay.
I still manage. I'm actually a manager now.
So what makes a good boss for you, in your opinion?
I think what makes a great boss is someone who understands each worker as an individual instead of saying that, well, everybody needs to be like this person or everybody needs to be at this level. And if you're not, then you're automatically failing. Everybody has their own strengths. And I feel like a good boss recognizes that in each of the persons that works for them and then plays up those strengths.
And so how large has your group of people that you have managed? How large of a group has that been?
Biggest group I've managed has been about 20 people.
Damn, that's a lot of people, Coy.
Yeah.
And was it easy?
I mean, for me,
were you prepared for the job?
No, because I actually got this job in particular, I got voted into it, and I didn't realize that everybody was taking a vote. I just thought,
so you was well liked.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Yeah, I ended up being this job in particular, I ended up being the president of my alumni association at another school that I attended called Year Up. Here in Atlanta. It was an IT training school.
Okay. All right, Boss Coy. So those who would like to observe a Boss's Day, we'd love to hear from you. Those who are watching and listening, what does Boss's Day mean to you? Who is your favorite boss, and what made that person and you such a good boss? Or what do you think made it in the case of someone else? What made them a good boss of you and for you? We'd love to hear from you and talk about it. To talk about our former boss there, Tom Joyner, a little bit, Chris.
Tom Joyner is like the greatest point guard ever in the history of radio. He runs the whole show, but he also knows how to dish that rock to his all-star team. And in his mind, if they score, we win.
We all score. It's not selfish.
Right.
At all.
It's not the Tom Joyner show because Tom has to have all the funny lines.
Right.
And there are morning shows like that where he's got to have all the funny lines. It's got to be all about Tom. No, people like, did you listen to Tom's show today? Because that's how he runs it.
Right. All right. And I would agree. And I've always said that Tom is one of those guys who comes out every morning at 5 a.m. to win. He comes out to play and to have a good time, and he leaves it all on the field.
Right. And he wants you to do the same. Put the work in. Put the work in, please.
As he
Put the
says.
work in.
Yeah, put the work in, and not just, leave it. We're not just hopping on his back. He is, as you said, can throw that rock around, and everybody gets a chance to make their plays.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's not unlike some football teams I know, but certainly not in my hometown
And
of
radio
Chicago.
people still.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that is for sure. That is for sure.
I know.
And we have to also mention the amount of love and respect he has for his listeners and his community.
Yeah.
They all mean the world to him. So
he has never taken that responsibility for granted.
Right.
And I think he learned that growing up in his community of Tuskegee, and understanding that how responsible we are, and we are our brother's keepers in a lot of ways, and sisters' keepers in a lot of ways. And so
super servants.
Yeah, we super serve the African American community, and make people feel as though they are a part of us, and they do. They still come up to us and say, remember that time, and when you said, and then Tom said, and then Jay said, and it really is very special that because we are with them, or we were with them at such intimate parts of their days, that they felt, that we were in their house or in their car or whatever.
We're a part of their lives, right?
Yep.
We're extended family members for life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's different for, the different kinds of work that you do. So we'd like to hear from you. What did you do, and who's your favorite boss, if it's you, and what made that person such a great boss, to our listeners and to our viewers? Donna Farrar on YouTube says, a good boss is one that lets me do or run the program. Okay. So,
Donna.
All right, Donna Farrar on YouTube, let you do what you do and do your work. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Coy, is that something you've learned, to allow people to do their thing, if especially in the kitchen, I guess?
Ooh, to a certain extent, because there's a level of creativity that is great to have in the kitchen when it comes down to, adding your own kind of kick to certain things. But however, when it comes down to the process of getting out a completed dish, every kitchen has their own steps and processes that they have in line, their rules and what have you. And that's where I feel like it could be a little bit difficult with certain persons in the kitchen, because everybody does have this skill to a certain extent, and they feel like, well, I could just come in here and do things the way I want. And I know, like in my kitchen in particular, we have rules that are not only designated for our kitchen because of our corporate office, but it also lines up with health codes and what have you that are set in place for the city that we're in, as well as the state of Georgia. So a lot of people come in and doing these things, and they're violating health codes. And I'm like, hey, you can't do that, because this isn't, a different kitchen that you work in, or this isn't an at-home kitchen. And I feel like a lot of people take offense when I have to correct that.
So you have to deal with a lot of egos
that I do manage. I do. I have to deal with a lot of egos, and some people, understand that, hey, if an inspector comes in and sees me doing this thing, then, this could take off a lot of points, or, this could potentially shut down the kitchen. And other people take this as, why are you talking to me like that? I've even had one person say, oh, you're just a typical angry Black woman. And I'm like, huh? I'm just asking you to use the correct color cutting board.
Is that an issue?
Yeah, because you can cross-contaminate when you use certain things that aren't designated for that food item. And a lot of people don't understand that. Even using the same gloves to touch certain foods that are considered, extremely dangerous allergens. People touch like everything and that food item, and then go and touch everything else. And it's just like, you can't do that.
So what might people say about you that they like about you as a boss, Coy?
They like that I'm pretty flexible in terms of allowing them to, be who they are, the personality and what have you. And I'm understanding, like, if a mistake does happen, I kind of step in and help show them. I don't just tell them don't do that and why. I kind of show them so they can get a visual and an understanding, and then I give them like a demonstration. Like I'm pretty thorough.
So like you mentioned about the allergens and cross contamination and things like that, and making them understand why the rules are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And being a good communicator, I think is quite vital. Yolanda, do we have other people who want to give a shout out to their bosses?
Don't want your bronzino tasting like chitlins.
Or red onions. We've had somebody complain that the watermelon tastes like red onions, and I'm like,
really?
I wonder why.
Renita Bland on Facebook said, my favorite boss was not afraid to help others below her. She was a Black woman, not in competition with other Black or other women. She shared info to help us all get ahead. That's really key. That is a sense of security that people have that is greatly undervalued.
Because you hear a whole lot of Black women talking about other Black women.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like they're in competition or don't want to help out. You hear that all the time. But then you have Black women that, okay, you know, I'm looking out for the cookout. As my sister said.
Coy, large kitchen, small kitchen. What's best for you as a boss?
I like the smaller kitchen because there's a lot more camaraderie there. In a large kitchen, it can be great when everybody's doing their own job, but I've seen a lot more egos in a large kitchen. It gets ridiculous in there. You don't know who's the boss, and you know, which sous chef are we talking to today, or you know, this sous chef said this on this day, but today you want me to do this way, and now I don't know what's going on.
Okay. I'm watching a series that I really love. Actually, I'm rewatching it. It's
Me too, Sybil. What is it?
Are you watching The Bear? Have you watched that on Hulu?
Oh, the restaurant.
Yeah,
it's about a restaurant.
Yeah, in Chicago.
I heard it's good.
It's really good, Coy. I really enjoy it. There's a young Black woman on there. She's a comedian and actress and what have you, but it's really quite good. It's called The Bear, and it's on Hulu. If you can, check it out.
I was playing, but I didn't.
I've started the first episode.
Okay.
Started.
And I love the different personalities and how some people are just difficult, and you know, there's a lot. There's a lot of family dynamics. There's in kitchen dynamics and things like that. I thought
it was Nick Cannon's new show, Chris. The Bear.
But I'm really enjoying it. I am. I love those. I love cooking shows, even though I'm not a cook. I like, you know, the chef shows and things like that. I really enjoy those a lot. All right, you guys, let's move to try to talk about different bosses that you may have had that you don't want to meet up with anymore. Coy, in your range of business experiences, is somebody like, if they came to me with all the money in the world, I would not go back?
Let's see. That would be the people I work for at McDonald's. I would not ever. No.
Do you think it was that particular McDonald's, or was it overall McDonald's in the Southeast or something like that?
I feel like it was a lot of McDonald's like that, because my best friend worked for McDonald's as well from high school up through maybe like our early 20s, and I started like right after Jackson State for like a year. And we both had similar experiences, and it was just awful. We worked at different locations under a different, you know, management team, under a different franchise owner, and had the same experience of these people that just get really cliquish with their friends and give them opportunities. But because I'm a Black woman that speaks properly, that is going to college or went to college, you're giving me a hard time at this job. And I'm just here to make ends meet, just like you.
Wow, and you need several more of those jobs to make ends meet.
I'm starting to sense the backstory behind these broken ice cream machines.
Not the McFlurries.
No, it's not working because I got an attitude. No, it ain't working.
Not the McFlurries. Say it ain't so. That's funny. That's absolutely.
We both got stuck in the drive-through too. That's the funny thing.
Oh, you mean you got stuck running the drive-through window?
Yep.
Or not?
No opportunity to move.
Oh, I think I would like that. I
for
did
for a
that.
whole year in the drive-through?
Yes, no, you do not.
Okay, so
'Cause
I
they-
only had a good time
And so she
because
was outside.
absolutely.
Before
Chris,
Chick-fil-A.
I used to work at Roy Rock. What you work at any fast food, Chris?
Yeah, I worked in high school. I worked at Subway. It was like a brand new thing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I got fired
Uh-oh.
because, and I worked when people worked at
Bro, you done
Subway.
got fired from a couple of jobs, Chris.
But when you worked at Subway, then it was like such a small time operation. And I was living out in the suburbs of Maryland. One person worked per shift. So it was just me. But
wow.
the only way they kept track of sales was by the rolls. Like how many rolls they made, how many they knew how many they sold. So I would tell people that they come up there with their own bread. I could hook them up. They tracked the rolls and they tracked the cups. So as long as you brought your own cup and your own
BYOB or BYOC.
He's a
I would hook
foodie
them up.
mastermind. That is
Right. So all the ladies
Right,
knew to
that
come
is-
up to Subway when I was
all
working the night
ladies,
shift.
Sybil, all ladies.
They knew to come up to Subway the late shift, and I'd give them the meat.
Give them the meat.
I had
$5. You got the
Yeah,
meats.
Chris. Bro, you got fired from Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, but that was 'cause
Okay, hold that story. I want to hear that. Let's
Oh
move
my
to
God.
trending topics.
He wants me to say that punchline so bad.
It's right there.
It's really,
Come on.
punchline.
Go ahead, Chris. You got
said,
fired from
I got
Victoria's.
fired. The manager caught me sniffing returns. I don't know why he likes that joke.
Oh, you don't.
My
He likes
God.
that joke.
I love that joke.
He absolutely loves that joke. Okay, so
Oh, Lord.
I do want to wish a happy birthday to a former member, former colleague, Gwen Pringle's birthday today. Wishing her a happy birthday, and
Happy
Huggy,
birthday.
and doing birthdays, Huggy. You got a special one next week. Just want you to keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
His birthday's next week.
His mama's.
How you know my mother? That's right, Sybil. I'm sitting here thinking like,
He was lost in thought too.
Sybil,
Hattie Jean Lowdown's birthday is
I
what,
hung
the
out with her
27th,
today.
28th?
She's-
Yeah.
She's getting worse. I hung out with her
Chris
today.
Paul, tell us the comedy dates for the show that was canceled again.
That is this Saturday. Is that the 21st? Saturday,
Saturday's
the
the
22nd.
22nd.
At the Dynacon Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can get your tickets right now at greensborohuggy.eventbrite.com.
Greensboro Huggy.
Huggy.eventbrite.com.
All right. Okay.
2 shows at the Dynacon
I'm
Center.
going back to North Carolina.
You going home, player.
Going home.
That's right. That's right. Going hard, going home.
Wilson.
So let's talk about the attitude of the Georgia voters. You wanted to talk about that, Chris, a little bit earlier. And Coy, maybe you can address this. Does there seem to be any sort of excitement about voting and people getting involved in the campaigns, or everybody just wants to get this over with, just like they want the commercials to? I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Right. No, I'm saying outside of Georgia, we all felt, and it seemed like it was a big deal what was taking place in Georgia, even before the election. It was a movement. Right. Everybody knew how important this was going to be. And this is still so important, but you just don't feel it outside of Georgia. So I was wondering if in the state of Georgia, there's excitement and enthusiasm about voting, or are Black people, and I could understand if so, they're tired of being asked to save the Democratic Party over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. They're either tired or they're confused by the amount of misinformation that's going on. And then I also feel like they're paying attention to what's going on in some other states and wondering how that applies to us. And I'm just like, listen, everybody needs to kind of just breathe and pay attention to what's going on in front of you, because there's so much information that's being pumped in from the ads that we're seeing everywhere on every streaming service. Then you have the debate that's going on. Then you have these news interviews that are going on with Herschel Walker, and I feel like there's not enough
You know what we need?
campaigning. Get your booty to the poll part
Yes.
2.
Yes, that's exactly
We
what you
do.
need.
We do. And it's just so wild how impactful that one ad was, not just in Georgia, but across the world. And it made voting so simple and understandable by the people that are missed
Yep.
in political campaigns. That's why we created that. That's why I participated in that, was to help the people that are forgotten
because you guys made a tremendous difference in that campaign, and the people of Georgia going to the polls made I mean, look at what you did. Even with the runoff that you had, and getting their booties to the poll and getting people out there understanding the value of representation, of being in line and helping other people get to the polls. There was so much there. I was hoping that you guys would be the springboard for the rest of the country, and in the major campaigns, as well as those that may be more local. Getting people to understand the importance of your vote and making sure, like I said, that you have a plan, that you're going to get everybody up and you all are going to go together. You're going to provide your own water, because Lord knows we don't know what the rules are.
You got to believe, you got to know it's a machine out there that's operating on the local level, that's just trying to just blow stuff up,
Yep. And it's called the state legislature.
Yeah. And they put money, they sending out newsletters, they putting pamphlets on people's mailbox, all types of stuff.
Oh yeah, we're getting all that.
Yeah, you already know, phone calls, wrong dates. I mean, everything.
Misinformation. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
people are willing to wait in line and do whatever it takes to defeat Donald Trump. Is that same energy there to stop Herschel Walker?
Right. We cannot be just laughing at him like this is a joke, and no way in the world.
Because that's what they think of us, as a joke.
Right. Because he has a machine. He has a machine behind him.
Yeah. I mentioned that we drove 72 and a half hours. I think it was closer to 73, 74 hours.
And then we just talking about misinformation, right? And she just come back with the 72 hours.
And wanted to thank the folks at Grambling State University for their hospitality. Also thanks to Black Voters Matter and to HBCU Go TV, our partners in this. Great partnerships and wonderful people as we are trying to encourage young people to register to vote on their college campuses and get them to the polls. As I mentioned, today is the first day for early voting in the state of Georgia. Other states have already started their early voting. I know former President Barack Obama and forever First Lady Michelle Obama were in Chicago casting their early votes today.
Forever First Lady.
Come on now. But when you have an opportunity and we find out that early voting is taking place, or let's start talking about our plans and about getting other folks out there and taking folks with us, or taking people to the polls, whatever we need to do.
And Barack and Michelle Obama will be coming to Atlanta too.
They're coming. They're going to be on the road to Atlanta, to Michigan, and to Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a Black man running for the United States Senate. His name is Mandela Barnes. He's running against the incumbent Senator Ron Johnson. And it's really interesting how the numbers are kind of changing a little bit. But the president is out there to let people know how important it is that people get out there and vote, and how important it is in the Senate, in the House, because don't sleep on the members of Congress that you're voting for, because Kevin McCarthy would like to take over Nancy Pelosi's job. And if that happens, a lot of things will not happen within the United States Congress, within the House, namely a very important committee, the 1-6 committee that has been investigating the attack on the Capitol that took place January 6, 2021. Yes.
So, but what about Marcus Flowers? And
Marcus Flowers is an interesting gentleman. He is running against Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia for the Congress position.
What is going on, Georgia? You had Herschel and then you had Marjorie Taylor Greene, bro.
And Marcus Flowers apparently is more of a moderate than a lot of folks would like. And talking to my friends who are engaged in politics in the state of Georgia, not really crazy because he is a bit of a moderate. But when you compare this to Marjorie Taylor Greene, is that enough to keep you home and to not engage and to have Marjorie Taylor Greene be another representative from the state of Georgia? I don't think so.
I saw a clip of their debate, and the moderator asked her, what is her greatest achievement as a congressperson that she has done for the state of Georgia?
Right.
She had nothing. She
had
had nothing to give. She just said, well, you can't get anything done with a president, a Democratic president, and a Democratic he was like, nothing? You got nothing?
You got nothing.
I did nothing for the state of Georgia?
Come on.
January 6th committee.
Come on. Yes. Because
Shrek neck Becky.
I don't know if you all have been watching Arizona as well. That's a really interesting state where you have a whole rack of election deniers, including the woman who's running for governor.
That is Stranger Things over there.
Man, yeah, it
crazy.
is. It is. It absolutely is.
Why would their constituents even vote if they believe the election is not going to be fair? Like, you keep telling them that the elections are rigged and everything. Why would Republican voters go out and waste their time?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's how they're thinking. And they lost at the table that no matter if they lose, they're not going to accept it.
Right.
They're going to lose.
Right.
They're going to cause riots in the streets.
They asked the Republican, who was a former newscaster there in Arizona, if how will you respond?
What's her name? So that lady is crazy.
Carrie Lake.
Is it Carrie Lake?
Right. Yeah.
She is an election denier, and they asked her, how will you respond to the outcome? Well, if I win, I'll believe it. And if you lose, if I win, I'll believe it. But if you don't win, if I win, I'll believe it.
And she's a news anchor.
She's a news anchor.
We're talking about someone whose job was to report the truth.
Yeah, right. But look, we have
hundreds of thousands of people every night. Right.
But we have a whole network.
And she's running based on that. Like that's her credibility. You know? I've been in people's lives and on TV. You can trust someone like me.
Right. And she's going out there for the debates. Her challenger, who is a Democratic woman, won't go out there. She said she just makes a farce of all of this. And you can kind of understand that from the other side, where you have people that you don't necessarily agree with, but I still want to see what they have to say or how this all is going to play out. So. This is check in and check up for your health, and just got to say no. NBA legend Dikembe Mutombo is undergoing treatment for a brain tumor.
I heard.
He is receiving treatment in Atlanta, according to the league. Over the weekend, the 56-year-old former shot blocking superstar is said to be in great spirits, according to a statement from the NBA on behalf of his family. He is receiving the best care possible from a collaboration of team members and specialists in Atlanta, in great spirits as he begins treatment. Dikembe and his family ask for privacy during this time so they can focus on his care. They are grateful for your prayers and good wishes. Yes, Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah. I like Dikembe.
This is a man.
Johnny Simpson told me a great Dikembe Mutombo story.
Please.
They were all, he was one of Donnie's neighbors, and he was driving, and he saw Dikembe out in front of his house, so he stopped and said, "How you doing, Dikembe?" Dikembe's like, "Not good. The white woman across the street, she comes over to my house and says, 'Hey, Dikembe, come across the street and play with my kid.' I said, 'What am I, an effing clown?' My dog. Kid's like 6 years old. Come play with my kid.
Like he's the toy, bro.
Okay.
Richard
Yeah.
Pryor, the toy,
Yeah.
right?
Like he's the toy, right?
Kid.
That's where he got that.
Oh,
No,
that was
no,
Jackie
no.
Gleason.
That's where he first did this. But no.
No. Wow. Coy, the Biden administration has opened the application process for Americans seeking student debt relief in its beta period that started Friday, allowing Americans seeking student debt relief, the applicants to begin signing up before the website is formally unveiled later this month. This, of course, is the president's attempt to carry through on his announcement to cancel up to $10,000 in student debt for individuals making less than $125,000 a year and as much as $20,000 for eligible borrowers who also are Pell Grant recipients. During the beta testing periods, borrowers will be able to submit applications for the Biden-Harris administration's student debt relief program. During this period, the website is available at studentaid.gov/debt/relief/application.
Brett Favre already got his check, so.
Oh, God, Chris.
Why isn't that being blasted on news outlets?
He said he did nothing wrong. And he said he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, that's his
Draymond
stance.
Green punched Jordan Poole in the face.
Yeah.
They run with different stories in sports.
For sure. And I wonder what the discussions are in those newsrooms and who is those gatekeepers, those who are making the decisions to tell those stories and those who are saying, nope, we're not going to talk about it. And it's not just Wisconsin. It's not just New York where he played, and it's not just Mississippi. I guarantee you that a lot of people are talking about it. Here's what I do want to talk about.
Atlanta Medical Center being closed, Coy. What are they doing? What are they doing down there?
Yeah, it's closing. They don't have the funding to keep up, and the staff to keep up as well. And it's troubling because I think it's one of the only other trauma centers. Yeah. So
other than Grady.
Yeah, Grady,
right.
And I think there's one out in Kennesaw. So now what we're looking at potentially is if you have a life-threatening emergency and you cannot be treated at Grady, which is already the central hospital in Atlanta, in Metro Atlanta, that you may have to be flown out to Kennesaw via helicopter. And it's scary. And I asked somebody that I know that is a medical professional, that is an emergency room nurse, and he let me know in order to upgrade Atlanta Medical Center, it's going to take a lot of technology. It's going to take years of training and a lot of other resources in order to not only save that hospital, but let's say to make other hospitals a trauma center.
Mm-hmm.
This is awful. What are we going to do? We're going to have to stay inside the house.
And it's not, I don't want to say that it's happening everywhere, and it's not just Atlanta, Georgia, but it is. Hospitals are closing down, and people are being denied health care and have to travel miles and miles and miles to get some sort of medical care.
That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So I want to close out with entertainment, and I'm not sure that this is entertaining, but it involves an entertainer. George Floyd's family is said to be exploring lawsuit options against Kanye West and Candace Owens in a case that could be similar to the judgment that was brought against Alex Jones in the Sandy Hook shooting. The bigger point here is that the lawyer, who is Lee Merritt, wants Kanye and Candace to understand statements like the ones that they're putting out in the world, namely that George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose and pre-existing conditions, but not Derek Chauvin putting his knee on his neck, depriving him of breathing, are false and hurtful. The Sandy Hook families were able to successfully sue Alex Jones for $1 billion collectively for defamation because he called the parents actors. Now, that's not saying, they're not saying that about the George Floyd family members. Kanye didn't say anything about them, and allegedly the Owens documentary could still have a negative effect on them, which is why Lee Merritt is pursuing grounds for a lawsuit against them. Lee Merritt and the family are preparing to go through Candace's documentary, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold, to see what exactly she said and if there's any basis to bring legal action. This is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Kanye West is a sick individual, and he is trying every way he can to find some attention and to get this attention. Just as we close out today, just want to get you guys' opinion on some of the things that Kanye has said and done. Coy, let's start with you.
It is for attention and to make sales with whoever is listening. At this point, I feel like his support system has failed him in many different ways. I feel like he doesn't really have a support system. And I just, almost laugh at the fact that we were really big fans of Kanye, and he said, wait till I get my money right. And then now this is what happens when you get your money right. Like you go ballistic.
Yeah.
You say things that are just hurtful, that are
Chris?
untrue.
And there's already backlash from me. He said what he said about George Floyd on the Popular Drink Champs podcast, and the host Nori had to go on a apology tour this morning after spending the whole weekend tweeting about how many clicks he got, how many views he got, being proud of it. But now he sees that it has really hit the fan. And
that's the price you pay.
He's going to end up getting canceled because of this.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
But the fact that he didn't check him while he was on there,
right.
You know what I mean? You can't, because he's Kanye and he has billions of dollars. You can't not check him.
He said his apology. He said his apology real quick that the reason he didn't check him because he said that happened. The George Floyd statement Kanye made was in the first couple minutes of the episode, and he was afraid that if he checked him, Kanye was going to walk out.
Well,
then he would have had one of the greatest clips ever.
That's your platform,
right?
It's yours, right?
You don't let nobody bully your platform. That's your platform,
right?
So was that interview that much more important than your platform
and the clicks?
And the clicks. So what are you saying?
Yeah.
You let Kanye take over your whole platform. Now you're going on an apology tour. Kanye got his money.
This is related to this, I believe. Yogi's Jewels, today's daily inspiration. You don't always have to keep it real, but you can always keep it nice. It's difficult, but
real nice.
or real nice. You don't always have to keep
about it. Candace Owens. So you heard about the whole parlor?
Well, thing? So that was the other story I had. We don't have time for it,
okay,
but yeah, Kanye is talking about buying Parler, which is the conservative
Candace
her
Owens.
husband.
So I was reading that she was grooming him. She used this with the White Lives Matter. All right, we'll talk about that tomorrow, Chris.
Yeah, we will definitely have a discussion there. So there's a lot to unpack in all of this, to pull out and to take a look at. And you guys, I'm sorry the time got away from us. Time is not always our friend. I appreciate your input, and we will see you all again soon. Take care. Aloha.